Hey guys, this is Danny Boy. If you don't know, I am doing a series on the new runes in the Diablo beta, patch 13, showcasing gameplay for all 5 of the classes through generally one playthrough of the beta. A lot of them actually I do 2 or 3 playthroughs, maybe 4. In those instances, in order to unlock those higher level runes, I will just put clips in at the end of the final video showing some gameplay for those other runes. I really don't think you guys want to watch for, you know, plus hours of one class doing gameplays or whatever. So, if you haven't seen it, I have a 5-part series on the Witch Doctor. I encourage you to watch it if you are interested. Again, this is the Demon Hunter. You start off the game with just Hungering Arrow, which is essentially Guided Arrow from the previous game. If you were playing an Amazon with a whole bunch of points in the Pierce passive, it's basically a Guided Arrow, a heat-seeking arrow, an auto-hit arrow that also has a very high chance to pierce, especially when you rune it for increased pierce chance. I just picked up Impale, which is you just throw a silver dagger, and it does some nice burst damage. Not a huge fan of Impale. You even get a rune for it in the beta, but it just gives it a solid chance to stun, but stun is so unnecessary. Control is, for the most part, really unnecessary in the beta, at least on single hard targets. Caltrips is nice. You'll see I get that pretty soon. Just for regular kiting, but a single target stun really isn't useful. There's no targets that are dangerous enough really to warrant it. It's that blue, silvery shot that you'll see that I use on occasion. You know, one of, I think, the biggest problems with the Demon Hunter, at least from what I've seen, is, first off, they don't start out... I mean, they're powerful enough because the beta is no challenge, so it's not that they're not powerful enough. It's more so that they just don't feel that powerful. They don't really feel spectacular. Like right now, I mean, I may as well be auto-attacking, more so than anything else. It's nice, like, it just pierce, and that's kind of cool. But, and it takes a while, really, for you to start feeling like an actual hero. Impale is really underwhelming. I mean, it's just a strong single-target attack. And in hack-and-slash MMOs, RPGs, AoE is king the vast majority of the time. AoE is what makes you feel strong. So to get a single target attack this early in the game, where there's just... I just happened to discover the hotkey to dropping our banner. Dropping banners is pretty cool, by the way. You know, this early in the game to get a strong single target ability is just totally unnecessary. You should be getting powerful AoEs just so that you feel like you're capable of just getting through it quickly and just mowing over guys. But things do pick up eventually. Again, though, I like the Demon Hunter's resource system. I think it's pretty cool, but it doesn't really seem to work that well in practice. If you don't know, Hatred is on the left, Discipline is on the right. You have, it's kind of like Focus for Hunters in World of Warcraft if you played that game. You use Hatred builders, and then use Hatred Expenders. Right now, Hungering Arrow is my Hatred Builder, Impale is my Hatred Spender. I just got Bullet Shot, that's another Hatred Builder. And then Discipline is used for utility abilities, escape abilities. Caltrips, I think, is the first one you get. You'll see that pretty soon. Bullet Shot, I'm sure you've seen before. It was one of the first abilities they showcased for the Demon Hunter when they were really announced at BlizzCon a few years ago. And basically you just shoot an enemy right there, and it explodes. Generally speaking, you want to shoot it once and then have it detonate, and you want to stagger it on multiple opponents so that you have lots of bullets detonating all around the same time, doing lots of AoE damage. It's pretty cool. It's a lot better when it's ruined for every effect, which you will see later. But what I was saying before about the Hatred Discipline system is there doesn't seem, at least in the beta and in the very early game, the Hatred Spenders you get really aren't more effective than the Hatred Builders. There's not a lot of reason, like, as you saw, Impale, there's really very little reason for me to use it beyond just the sake of using it. It's not necessary. I can easily kill enemies just using my Hatred Builder. So you just don't seem to have good reason, at least in the beta and in the early game, and you'll see a bunch, I get quite a few more hatred spenders, and there's really none that come out that strike me as being very useful. I mean, okay, here we actually have a boss that has some life, so I'm shooting a bullet shot, then shooting an impale, and then cycling between them. But you saw how quickly my hatred was expended anyway, and I have Bola to build up my focus, or my hatred, but you shoot Bola so infrequently that it doesn't really build it up frequently enough to use a bunch of impales anyway. I drain it dry pretty quickly, and that's that. So yeah, if I have a complaint, it's just the hatred builders are not only generally better, but far more interesting than the hatred expenders that they give you, at least, again, in the beta. So hopefully that will change. Hopefully the hatred spenders will be far more worthwhile once you can get to a higher level, once the game is actually out. I certainly hope that you can cast them and build focus far faster. I'm sorry, I keep calling it focus. I'm too used to hunters in World of Warcraft. Hatred a lot faster than you seem to be able to do so. I mean, look at that's 2 impales was a full third of my hatred already. So I don't know. Hopefully you can build it up faster once you have more skills and runes and what have you. But as it stands, it just doesn't seem to work that well. Discipline works fine. I really have no qualms with Discipline. It's a utility resource. It regenerates by itself over time, and then you have cooldowns and other things to build it up faster. But Hatred, I don't know. Hopefully things will change as time goes on. So, and as you've already seen this area, we are back in the Cathedral, very reminiscent of the monastery in Act 1 in Diablo 2. Similar to just the Tristram Cathedral levels in Diablo 1, though definitely far nicer looking, I will give them that. I have to say, since this beta patch, and it's probably just my imagination, but I feel like the lighting has changed to an extent, and I feel like the game's a little just darker, just lighting-wise than it was. I don't know, maybe it's just me. I have a feeling it's just in my head, but I feel like it was harder to see. Maybe it was just my monitor because of the lighting in my room at the time. Not sure. And enemies also seem to have been made stronger in this round of beta. You pretty much are absolutely required to upgrade your weapon as quickly as possible, which is generally level 6, is when you can use the first level of crafted items. Once you get the blacksmith, and once you unlock the blacksmith on one character, it's unlocked on all the characters. It makes it, you're not because of difficulty, but just because of how slowly you kill enemies. I mean, on the ranged characters, you can kite enemies in perpetuity and not really have any problems. It's boring. It takes forever to kill anything. I just picked up caltrips. I don't know if you've seen this before. It's essentially just a trap. Throw it on the ground. You can cast like 4 or 5 of them, I think, if you're at full discipline, and it just slows enemies when they reach them. It's effective, but you don't get Vault anymore in this version of beta, and I would way rather have Vault than have caltrips, but whatever. An example of one of the runes that I'm not going to show for is the caltrip rune. It's something along the lines of hooks, something like that, and it just makes the snare more intense. And I definitely have no desire to level up to level either 9 or 11, I forget which, to see that personally. It's extremely painful. I got characters at level 13 in the last build of beta. I have a character at level 12 in this build of beta. I really am tired of running this beta. As I said, I played for 7 hours straight to get all of this footage, and then I'm spending some days to just compile it all and to do the VO work. The commentaries. So, yeah, I mean, if you guys specifically request, and I highly doubt you will, to see the caltrips graphics, that's really all you're seeing. It's just an increased snare. It's not going to be anything visually appealing. Let me know, but that would require you to watch these videos, and I don't think that's happening, so I don't think it'll be an issue, and I won't really worry about it. So... what was I talking about? Well, anyway, we're continuing down into Leoric's Passage. I definitely, in the beta, have generally preferred the range classes to the melee classes, which isn't unusual. I generally lean towards range in games. I would have to say the Witch Doctor is my favorite thus far, followed by probably the Demon Hunter, and then probably the Wizard. The Monk is cool and all, but he doesn't really do it for me, and I wind up playing him generally with the Reach ability, the punch that shoots out waves of force at enemies at range, and I pretty much play him as if I was playing a pseudo-range character anyway. And the Barbarian just doesn't interest me. He's very similar. I mean, he's a lot cooler and a lot more powerful than the Barbarian in Diablo 2, but at the end of the day, he's your standard Barbarian. He's a lot like the Warrior from World of Warcraft, so I've been there, I've done that. I don't need to do it again. If there's anything I can say about the Barbarian, it's that he's cool and that he's an incredibly gory character. If I just pick a color for him, I'd probably say it's red, just because of everything he does shoots out a huge amount of blood splatter, just everywhere, blood spatter everywhere. So,
We must discuss the fallen star.
yeah. Oh yeah. Again, as far as scaling goes, I'm not sure if the game is, if the monsters, it's certainly not harder, but I don't know if the monsters have more health in this version of beta than they did in the past. I kind of would think they would, just because you didn't have access to runes before, and runes can significantly increase the damage of some abilities. So perhaps they decided to just buff up the monsters a bit, just so that you wouldn't completely instantly mow over everything with your new runed abilities. But your killing speed definitely slows down significantly once you hit level 4 or 5, and there's a bit of a lull there, and then you hit 6 when you can upgrade your weapon, and then things become easy and pointless again. And you can use a level 6 weapon all the way through the end of beta and not really have any trouble with killing speed. And again, I say this not because it's difficult, just because it's slow and it just gets kind of boring. As you saw in my Witch Doctor gameplay, assuming you watched it, there's one battle I got into in either the second or third video that just took for absolutely ever, when I was facing a bunch of the witches that vomit and summon zombies, just because I couldn't really get to the witches, and I killed the zombies slower than they actually summoned them, so I just had a huge pack. And though it was entertaining enough, since I was able to try out some stuff and just kind of goof around, definitely wouldn't want to get into a fight like that, you know, in every single battle, every pack that I face. This, again, will probably be something like a 5-parter. I have a great deal more footage for you. I'm going to try to get this out within the next 2 days. Ideally to the day after tomorrow, maybe tomorrow, if I can render it overnight. Unfortunately, I would have actually gotten my Witch Doctor videos out sooner, but when I batch rendered my series, it rendered it, I forgot to select something, and it rendered as a single video rather than a series of videos, which was a problem, so I had to re-render it all over again, which I don't know if you know, but takes hours to do. Hours of processing. So, kind of threw me back. And then I have to upload it to YouTube, which also takes hours when you're doing a bunch of videos at a time. So, kind of time-consuming. And makes it difficult to play games that require bandwidth, because YouTube sucks it up. Or games that require significant processor load, because most of that's being used for my editing software when I'm actually rendering videos. So can't really use my computer for the most part when that stuff's going on. I generally do it when I'm sleeping. So yeah, this video is definitely winding down. Finishing off this so-called boss certainly is not worthy of being called a boss, or even a mini-boss. It's a glorified unique without minions. Really, if I have a complaint, why don't we have any memorable bosses in this entire act, Blizzard? Why is everybody just a glorified, not even a unique, a glorified champion? It's a real shame. I just picked up Rapid Fire or Rapid Shot. You will see that in the next video. Alright guys, thanks for watching, stay tuned for part 2, and have a good one.